Okay, this is Baruch here at the Tikkun Elevator Kollel, and I'm going to be reviewing what we learned earlier today in the Shara Kavanos, the Inyan Tefillin. We get to a place over here where there is no pirush on it. So we do the best we can with it, and let's move. It says, Beseda Gesivas at Tefillin, when we talk about the writing of the Tefillin, Beseda Gesivas at Tefillin, Hindicha Tefchida Sarek Sheyichta with Tefillin shall rosh first, do the Tefillin of the head. V'yisak them Megamri, completely arrange them, get them all together. V'yisparem, and sew them up. V'yashchiram, and make them black. V'achakach, so that's the way you start. You start with the head. V'achakach yichtov tefillin shal yad v'yisaknam v'yashchiram, and do the same thing. Then it says the hizara lichtov kol v'dalit parshas b'li hepsek dibur. Gam sarak. Now, these are instructions once again for the sofer, for the person who is writing the tefillin. Gam sarak lizacher lichtov gam hadalit parshas shal rosh o shal yad v'tzufim yachad. So you have to do them all together, one continuous writing. V'lo yabsek beinechem b'shum dibor. So no words. You should not say a word while you're doing the klal v'ikr. And certainly, if you're in the middle of writing them, don't stop then. Let's say you're older, you're sick, or feeble. And you can't read, you can't write them all at the same time. Then do the first three together. And then do the fourth one by itself. That's also hard. Yichtov al kol panim. Base parshas of Rishonas bilvad, do the first two only. Bilti chapsek bein tayim b'shumocha. V'acha yichtov base parshas acheros yachad. And then after that, you should do the next two together. Now he says, Maya asa im hipsek bein the parshas. Well, what happens if you interrupt between the parshas? And then you make an interruption. When you come to the third parsha, which is Shema. So you have to dip your pen in ink again. And you should write them. That is, start writing on the first word, the V'yidaber shal parshas kadesh, which is the first parsha. Val tevis v'hoya shal parsha shniya. So it sounds like he just says that to take the first word and write over that first word with fresh ink. And then you write the whole thing out from the Shema going onwards. So you have there a little bit the katsas of Hebel. So this is not the most perfect, he says, of the kavanas in the tefillin, but it will work. But let's say you did three and then you stop. So then you go back to also onto the right, in other words, bring your pen back over the first words of the first two parshas, and also on the first word, which is Shema of the third parsha, Shema Parsha Gimel. And then you do the whole thing. So you go over the first words of the other ones. That's interesting. He said just the first words. I'm not sure if that's really, there's more explanation to it or not. I don't know. So let's go on. And he says, Sham Nizbayer Gam came Hatfilah Shal Kodem Kasiba. Gam Kodem Shayaska Lichtov Yispalo Bayomer. So before you get started, you say this. Yehirat of Vanecha Hashem Elokeinu Be'elokei Avoteinu. Here we are. Elokei Avoteinu. Shetish Roshkinaz v'Mas Yadi. Bring the Shechina onto the work of my hand, but Tatzlichena B'Ksivazi Zois. Yeah, give me Hatzlacha. But with this writing, Shahani Koset Tefillin Elu L'Shem Kedushas Mitzvahs Tefillin, because I'm saying it in the name of Kedushas Mitzvahs Tefillin. Shevin Siva B'Chavech Hashem B'Keinu B'Tziva B'Tzatzilenu. That Hashem commanded us B'Tzatzilenu B'Tawos. We shouldn't make mistakes because of the towels of a ksiva. Or Metalos of Gavonos, Amen. of a kavana, and also in mistakes in where my kavana, what my intention is. Amen. Ken Yitzon. He Noam Hashem Elokeinu. You say that part of that pasuk, that parsha. V'achakach yaskil lechtov tekes im hagavanos anal. So then immediately you should start after the prayer. You should start with the kavana. V'gam nisbar gam mini kavanos acheros. Let's talk about different kinds of kavanos. Shal the parsha v'chabatim v'chaskaros. So he says, Gam Yikaven Ki B'Parsha Rishona. So this is a kavana you should have. Yesh Ba Asara Pesukim Keneged Es Spheros. There are 10 Pesukim and they correspond to 10 Spheros. Keneged Yud, notice how he spells Yud Shel Kavaya Peshuta, the simple Avaya, but he means the Milui, that concept. Keneged Yud Shel Kavaya Peshuta. B'Parsha Shniya Yesh Ba Shisha Pesukim. Keneged Os K Aleph, which is the number 6, B'Milui Alofim. Of a Parsha Gimel Yesh Shisha Pesukim Keneged Os Vav Shebeparsha Hazos, and then you go to from the Hey, now you go to the Vav of this Parsha. Of a Parsha Revius, and in the fourth Parsha Yesh Tesha Pesukim, there's 9 Pesukim there. What pshat? The Moshe B'Malchus, because the fourth bias, the fourth Parsha really refers to Malchus. A Makabel mentation sphere that comes from the 9 spheres up above him, which could be called Kochov Chagat 9. So then let's go on. Gam Yakabe, let me see if we got this here. Gam Yakabe ki kola besukim shal arba parshas anal, hein begematria shem kale. So we have all of the parshas here. They're gematria shem kale. Hayotze b'shem sad, which comes from the name sad. Now remember, there's 3 yuds and an aleph in sad. Kaniska Bazar Parshas Pinchas Rhyme Behemda Shlosha Yudin Ba'alef. Gam Ku Keneged Shem Kale, so it also corresponds to the name Kale, Hayotzim B'Shem Akia B'Milu Yudin. They come from the name Akia Milu Yudin, which is Gematria 161. In that name also, Sheyesh Yasham Gam Kem Gimel Yudin and an Aleph. If you write it all out, you'll see that it has 3 Yudin and an Aleph. Now this Kavana really is going on the 4 parshas that we have in the Tefillin Shel Rosh. Although the Arba parshas the Tefillin Shel Yad, but the same parshas are in the Tefillin Shel Yad. Yikav b'Shem Kale, just had the Kavana for the name Kale itself. Hayosu b'Shem Akia b'Milu Yudin Canal. That has, we said before, just concentrate on that one, that which is an Akia, Milu Yudin, which is Kasa, or 161. And it has within the 3 the name Kale. Gam Kale, Shem Kale Shuku B'Chesed. Kale also refers to Chesed. Kamosha Amar HaKased, Chesed, Kale, Kol Yom, Kaniska B'Zoyer, Parshas V'Yikra. So we understand that this comes out to be in the name Ekia with the Milui of Yudin, which is the highest Milui that we have. Here we see they become out this name Kale again. So the Ravayat B'Parshas Tefillin. Gam Tekavin Ki Kol the Ravayat Sheyesh B'Arba Parshas Tefillin. Haim Kaf Olavas Karos Gaminian Ekia. So we have 21 names in these 4 Partsukim of Hashem, of Yud Kei Vav Kei. And they come out 21 as the gematria, simple gematria of Ekia. So when you write the first Havaya, this is what you should think. Yikavin Lo'os Aleph Shal Ekia, because we're dealing with Ekia here. Then you go to the next 5, Yikavin Be'eh Shal Ekia, with the Hey of the name Ekia. So you're really spelling out Ekia in different kinds of ways. Of Yud Havayas Acheros, and in the 2 Havayas, the other 2 Havayas, Yikavin the Yud Shel Ekia, you should get in mind the Yud of the Ekia. Of the Hey Havayas Achronos and the Sharos, and the 5 that are left over, Yikavin Bepei Achronos Shel Ekia. So that's how you see the Ekia in the Mizpar of the Havayas. Now he says over here, Amnam, say the Pratam. So if we go over the details, Haim Zion the Bayat Parsha Rishona, the Zion the Bayat Parsha Shnia, the Gimel the Bayat Parsha Gimel, the Dalad the Bayat Parsha Dalad, and it gets you 21. B'Yakav and Lahamshik Zion the Bayat. So this is another Kavana. have an idea there. The Hamshek Zion the Parsha Rishona. So we have Zion Zion Kabayas there. Begimel Havaya Sheba Parsa Gimel, and you're going to match them up with the three Havayas that you find in the third Parsha. The Zion Havayas Sheba Parsha base, then you do the second Parsha. Badal Havaya Sheba Parsha Gadal. So what you've done is you put the two on the right side together and two on the left side together. B'tzod Chachma v'Chasadim, Obina v'Gevuros. Gamo she'yizbar l'cho be'ezes Hashem, Mima she'yizbar l'mat, according to what's been explained already. He says Yizbar. So now we're going on. So Yizbar, we explain Shachababatim Shehem Kitzonius. So the bottom represents Kitzonius. V'Chaskaros, and then the names of Hashem Shehem Panimim Mekulam near Mazah B'Shem Akia. So the names themselves, though, are a reference to Akia, even though the names are Havayas, but the names are a reference to Akia. But Parshas, then the Parshas themselves, that is the paragraph itself that's in the bias, Shehem Se'im, they're an intermediary. He's telling us that the paper itself and the words written on the paper are a medium between these two, between the concept of the bias, which is on the outside, and the concept of the name of Hashem, which is on the inside. It's in between them, an interface. So he says, so there that you have that playing. So the word has been praised before you. Tefillin shall rosh sheish kof aleph oskaros. K'misper shem ekya. So as we said, Bahem dalad batim, and then there's for the four batim, which represent the outside. He said that's Kitzonius. Keneged dalad osus shem shall shem ekya. So here's another kavanot. So the batim go with the four letters that are the name ekya. Behem dalad parshas. Now inside of the bottom are four parshas connected the dalad osias shal shem abaya, which correspond now to the four letters of Yud Kei Vav Kei. Keniska b'tikunda b'chakadama daf tes on daf tes amalal. Menivar b'tamlasan. I've explained the idea of this. Eich azkaro shehem panimim b'kulam. So how is it the names themselves, the Yud Kei Vav Keis in these parshios, which are the most interior part? The bottom is the most outside part. Near Mazin B'Shem Ekya, how do we see all of this in the name Ekya? Near Mazin B'Shem Avaya, and then the parshas, which are that is the paper itself and the words on the paper. He says there they reference Havaya. Gam Nevoratam El Arbishitos Sheesh B'Kal Parshas, and now we're going to talk about how there are four shitos in every parsha, of a parsha, meradal the parshas Tefillin shall rosh. So he's going on, and he says, by Indian who b'mashanayda. So the Indian is according to like what's known. Shat Tefillin who sold ima al bara. So now we have this guy, ima al bara. Ima means really al bara. She's on top of her son because she's panimi to him, and so therefore she's a much greater light. Shal Tefillin who sewed Ima al bara, the mother, on top of the son. Keniska b'dikunda v'gevarta daticho. Kidalid batim shal Tefillin. Hem neged arba osias Akia. So we said this several times already. They refer to the four letters of Akia, Badalid parshas, and then the four parshas Keneged arba osias Avaya, or correspond to the arba osias Avaya. And then he said that let's take the Askaras themselves, which are the Benimi part. Shebechem Keneged Shem Ekya Shuhu B'Gematria Kaf Aleph, and it goes back to Ekya again. So you have Ekya Havaya Ekya here. V'Hamrech B'Chaim Gimel Shemas Ekya Havaya Ekya B'Tefillin Sharosh V'Hem Gematria Chayim. So if you add them up, they come out to the Gematria of 68. That's 21, 26, and 21. Is a Nikra Chayim Melech, and they together are called by this phrase Chayim Melech. The Shehem Mitzad Ima. And the Asa Tefillin shall rosh the Zer Anpin. So because they come from Ima, and the Ima, and the Mitzad Ima, and the Asim, and they're made, the Tefillin shall rosh the Zal. Well, Kain Amar Razal. Hamanich Tefillin Ma'arech Yomen. The person puts on Tefillin will have long days. Shedem Hashem Aleichem Yichyu. Because it says Hashem on them, Yichyu will bring life. So maybe that's the concept of the mother on top of the son. Melech was Zer Anpin. When we saw the Melech, who's the Melech? Zer Anpin. V'chaya Melech and Nizkar, and then when we say this phrase, "Ahaz a Melech," Nim Shalom Ava. Ava means Abba be'ima hanikroyim Chaim Kanai. The Gavar the Ticho. So we're getting towards the end here, I think. So he says, "I've already told you." There are 3 different bechinas in Zah. Let me see how I'm going to get this up here. There we go. So he says, so I've already told you, Ki Gimel bechinas choye b'Zah. There are 3 different bechinas that Zah had. V'shnayim mechem, a rishon v'shlishi nikroyim ibor. Now listen to this. This is a different mahalach. He says that let me read it again. Zer Anpin had 3 stages. He sees the word bechinas. I guess they're all really, there's no time in spiritual space, so they're all really different. I don't know. He calls it bechinas. So 2 of them, that is this first one and the third one, they're called by the name Ivor. The Zman, the Yanika, is called by the time of nursing. So therefore, let me turn this page here, get us lined up. So therefore, Rishon v'Chagimel. So therefore, the first one and the third one, Nirmaza b'Shem Akia, really refer to the name Akia, because Akia goes along with this concept of Ivor, or pregnancy. So he said, but Ramaza b'Shem Akia. Sheshem Akia Mora al Bechinas Ivor, because Akia really teaches us about the concept of Ivor. Kamashakasa b'Parsha b'Yikra, the Akia Ritzona Lomer Ana Zamin La'oleda. So this is what we learned, that the name Akia means that I am prepared to give birth. So, or I am destined to give birth. And so I didn't really put that down good enough. Let me read it again. So what the idea is that Ekia is dominant. Al Bechinas Ha'ivor, but it refers to the concept of pregnancy. The word Ekia itself, the translation, Ritzon Lomer, Ana Zamein Lo'oleda. So I am prepared, ready to give birth. It could mean that I'm pregnant. So that's all that idea is that it's prepared. It's a vehicle for giving birth. This is Baruch Fleischman, Tikkun Elevator Kola.